Highlander. That's a movie that exists. It came out in the 80s when Queen made that album, and I watched it sometime last year, and it was kind of nuts. Okay, so basically we open with this guy who's like sitting watching a wrestling match, I think, and he's got a big forehead.
Oh no! No!
Yeah, he goes out into the car park and this other guy shows up and like pulls out a sword, and then that guy pulls out a sword and they start having this big sword fight in the middle of a car park. And it kind of gets over the top and they start like doing flips over cars and stuff. It's interesting. And the fight ends with this one dude getting his head cut off because it's revealed that they're immortal, and that's the only way that the immortal people can kill each other in this movie. And basically the plot is that like they all want to kill each other because like they want to be the last one left, because then they're going to get a prize. Yeah.
So it's like kind of like Hunger Games.
Yeah, I guess, but like only with some people. So there's this flashback scene to Scotland back in the old days where the main guy, forehead guy, is in a fight and then he dies and then he comes back to life and his village is like, whoa. He's like a witch or something, and they kick him out of the village. And then he's like, oh shit, man. So basically he realizes he's immortal. He goes off with this guy who's like the same actor for Indiana Jones's dad, who basically like shows him the ways of the Force, but like not the Force. Oh yeah, and I forgot to point out, the main guy who's meant to be Scottish is played by a French guy who doesn't even do a Scottish accent. So it's a bit...
It's kind of disappointing. This reminds me of that Joan of Arc movie we watched in religious studies.
Yeah. The guy who plays like his mentor guy is a Scottish actor, but he's playing like a Spanish guy, I think. And he still does the Scottish accent. Straight away we got some interesting casting choices. So in the present day, we're introduced to the villain. And he's basically like cliche 80s villain. Like kind of a Darth Vader knockoff, I guess. Like wears all black and he's like big and tough and has a deep voice and stuff. But this guy's different. You know why?
Why is he different?
Because he listens to Queen.
Yeah! If Darth Vader didn't listen to Queen, he'd be like hit with the kids.
So this movie, basically it's paced, it is kind of two stories that it's telling at the same time, I guess, where like the first one it's like this guy's life in the present, and then like, you know, his life in Scotland back in the old days. The fight scenes in this movie are like cheesy as well. They're all quite over the top. There's this one fight scene that takes place in like a tower, I think, where like Indiana Jones's dad is having dinner with forehead guy's girlfriend, and then the bad guy shows up and like tries to kill him, and they get into this big sword fight, and because it's an 80s movie, the girl just stands there and screams and doesn't do anything. Anyway,
like cliche like fight noises like
yeah, probably. I don't really remember. I watched this last year. But basically Indiana Jones's dad dies.
No.
I think he does. I don't really remember, but actually, yeah, he did. I just don't remember when it was.
Indiana Jones in the next movie.
Okay, the use of music in this movie, I was kind of disappointed because, like, I'd heard that the album A Kind of Magic was used for the soundtrack. The songs I really wanted to hear in the movie were Friends Will Be Friends and One Vision, which I guess were my favourite songs in the album, but neither of those ones were in the movie because they only used some songs from the album for the movie, it turns out. But what confused me is that they also used Hammer to Fall in one scene, just randomly, because I think they ran out of music.
It'd be so funny that it would like Luke and Darth Vader are fighting, it's just like Queen playing.
Oh yeah, so they use Who Wants to Live Forever pretty well. They basically do this scene where like his girlfriend gets old and dies, and they use Who Wants to Live Forever in it to make it like extra sad. So that was, I think that was a pretty good scene.
Yeah, because he's immortal and Who Wants to Live Forever. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was used pretty well. Anyway, it goes back to the present. I don't really remember that much, but I remember there's this one fight scene that takes place in a church, I think. Like, I think the bad guy just walks into a church and just starts, like, trying to fight the forehead guy.
No.
Anyway, the climax is another cheesy over-the-top fight scene where basically, the bad guy's holding the girl hostage on, like, the top of a building.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cheesy already.
Yeah, she would have been screaming and stuff while they were fighting. And then I think they knock over a water tower or something and water starts going everywhere to make the scene extra, I don't know, wet. Oh yeah, the action's pretty shit, actually. Like, the way it's edited is kind of hard to watch. So yeah, that's one factor of this movie that's a bit... Yeah, eventually end of the movie, villain's head gets cut off and forehead dude gets the prize, which is being mortal.
Being immortal.
Yeah.
Mortal.
Yeah.
Mortal.
And then he probably dies. And that's the end of the movie. I give that a 6 out of 10. Pacing wasn't too bad, but the fight scenes were like way too cheesy. I guess there were quite a lot of stereotypes in it as well.
I mean, it was the 80s.
Yeah. There was this one scene that made quite a racist joke. Some guy was at a police station and he said something about like, oh, I just got a call from a Vietnamese man tried to eat his cat or something like that.
It's not even funny.
Yeah.
I got milk.
Yeah, so I mean, a Highlander, check it out if you want to see something kind of stupid.